I have two cats that tend to get me up. They decide they want to eat, and they do whatever they can to make sure I move. It's
Yeah.
reality. See, you can see the tail of one right there.
So I haven't had a good dad joke for a while, so I've got to mention that, if it went wrong, that could be catastrophic, not getting enough sleep.
Aha.
And then, of course, if you do get enough sleep, that you could easily become catatonic.
You have a dog.
Funny.
You have a dog, right, Tony?
I have a dog, yes.
Yes.
I used to have 4 cats when I owned my backpackers hostel.
Okay.
And, well, I say owned, I owned the business. The 4 cats had alcoholic names. So we had Bourbon, Champagne, Stolly, and Malibu.
Wow.
Very, very fitting for a backpackers.
Bourbon. That's an interesting choice.
Bourbon was the longest serving cat. She was with us right from day one. She actually joined us. I was sharing a house with a couple of mates beforehand. So when I took over the backpackers, she came with us from the private house to the backpackers, which was a bit of a culture shock. But she really adapted, and she was just the life and soul of the party, and was always sleeping on people's beds or on top of wardrobes all over the place.
Yeah.
So was she called Bourbon when she went there, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sadly, she had a twin sister called Coke, Bourbon and Coke.
Oh, wow.
But Coke got run over. So as I said, the Coke went flat. That's a really bad joke, I know.
Hey, Sasha.
So yes, we lost a few other cats along the way. I'm just talking about the cats I had in my backpackers. So we had one called Keg, another one called
Keg. Guinness. Oh, Guinness.
Guinness.
What happened to Keg? Did it roll away?
I don't know what happened to Keg. We lost Keg. Someone must have left the tap on.
So I had one as a child named Squirmels because he was a cat that squirmed around a lot. I saved him as a kitten, and he lived to be 20.
Oh, cool.
Long life.
Yeah, well, Bourbon would have been, well, I had the backpackers for 14 years. And when I sold up, she went with one of my staff. And I think they had her for about another 2 years after that. So she would have been a pretty old, probably 16-year-old cat by the time she croaked it. So we have Vanessa with us as well. Are you live and able to speak, Vanessa? I'm not sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. I just want to check you out.
Yeah,
How's the meeting will be?
Good. Yes, very good. And pleased you can make it.
How many people here?
With this 5 of us and yourself, so 6 people now.
Okay. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Do you have a screen? Can you see the visual or just the audio?
I could see you, yes.
You can see us?
Yes.
Okay.
Or only yourself, not the others? Just only you?
How are you? Are you on the computer or on your phone?
On the phone.
There's probably a button you can press that would let you see everyone. I don't. Do any of you guys know? I haven't actually.
So I've been on my phone before, and I can only see the person that's talking.
Yeah,
it's such a small screen.
So
I think you just get speaker screen. The person speaking, like me now, would be showing up on her screen, so she only gets to see one person at a time.
Yes.
Is that how it's going, Vanessa? You can see each speaker?
I think so. Yeah, I could only see you. That's fine. I will figure that out later.
You can only see me. There must be a button that needs to be pressed somewhere. Anyway, obviously, I'm the most important person you need to see. That's fine. I'm only kidding, of course. And I've just had a crisis moment. Just bear with me a second and talk amongst yourselves because my battery's about to die. My charger. Hold on.
So, Trudy, how's the weather by you?
We're a little bit kind of overcast and we've had a little bit of rain, but I don't think the monsoon's setting in because I'm actually in what's called a hill station, so I'm kind of up in the mountain area anyway. So yeah, no, the weather's good. Everything's good. I'm looking for a new place to live. So next week and maybe Sunday, I'll be coming from somewhere else in India.
So where are you in India right now? Like where? North, south, east, west?
So currently in the south.
Okay.
It's called Kerala. So the state is called Kerala. So when you actually look at the map of India and it sort of comes down like this sort of shape,
Yep.
Well, I'll go this way. This way is Kerala and this way is Tamil Nadu. They're the bottom two states. So I'm like right down
Oh.
in the bottom state, but not at the bottom of the state. So Kerala is where they have what they call the backwaters and where you can go on houseboats. It's pretty famous for its houseboat sort of area. The backwaters of Kerala, they call it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So have the rest of you all met? Do we all know each other?
No.
No. So
Whoever Julie is. And hi,
So-
Christopher. Where's Christopher from?
Christopher,
Hi, just a sec, sorry. I'm from Sydney.
Ah. Okay. Australia, obviously.
Yeah.
yep, that's right. And so Christopher and I met in Perth some time ago, quite a few years ago, and we did some work together. And then Christopher went in search of adventure and fame and fortune to the big smoke.
Yeah, I've been here for 3 years already.
Well done, Christopher. Vicky, you're calling us from Canada?
I'm in Montreal, Canada, so I'm just above New York State. So I've been here 21 years. It's beautiful. I love Canada. I'm very happy to be here, to be honest, especially right now with all going on.
Well, that's lucky. You're kind of stuck there, aren't you?
Yeah, I actually literally am. We're still in lockdown with curfew. I am stuck here and borders are shut. So I'm enjoying the spring, although I wish that was my view every day. It's not, being in Montreal. Future view. But it's spring now, so everything's blooming and blossoming, and I'm very happy to see everything come alive. It's nice.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Sasha, would you like to say where you're from?
Yeah, of course. I'm from the Netherlands. So, yeah, the other side of the world.
And what's brought you here today?
I'm quite, how do you say that, structural. So I planned this meeting because I liked it previous time. So I just planned it, and yeah, I think
Awesome.
it will be a great time again.
Glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Julie, are you able to speak?
Yes, I am able to speak. Sorry, I wasn't kind of expecting this because I don't think I've joined it before. Not this one, have I?
I can't
Not this
remember.
time.
I know you've been on my Friday morning one. I'm not sure if you've been on the Tuesday night.
Yeah, no, I've been on the Friday morning one, but not this one. So it's lateish here, and I've just had a busy day. But I thought I'd catch up with you. Yes.
Yeah,
So
well,
somebody
you make yourself relaxed there. That's fine. That's all good. So Julie's, well, you're 4 hours ahead of me, I think, aren't you? So you're 9:30
Yeah.
in the evening there, yeah?
Yeah, 9:40 now.
Yep.
So
Where's
Yeah,
Julie
so-
from New Zealand?
well, I am, yes, but I'm really I should be living in the Netherlands. That's where I've been resident for the last 10 years. So I came over for a birth of my granddaughter, and I'm still here, a bit sort of stuck, and I don't really want to go back at this point because it's not that good at the moment over there. So I thought I'd just stay on for a bit until it sort of clears up and is a bit safer for travel. So yeah, so
Hopefully
here.
soon that bubble's opening up now where Aussies are able to go to New Zealand and vice versa.
yes, but not in the Netherlands though.
Oh, well,
But-
be patient. You'll get there.
Yeah, I'm very happy because I want to live in both places anyway. So, you know, it's fine. I'm building things. Doesn't matter where I am really for building them.
Awesome. And thank you for that. And we've got Vanessa joining us for the first time. So Vanessa, would you like to just say a quick hello and where you're from and what you're up to?
Hello, everyone. I'm Vanessa. I'm in Perth. The reason I'm here today, since I met Tony and his wife 2 days ago at the winery, and his idea and inspiration was interested me. So I just want to check this session out. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Vanessa. It's lovely of you to join us today. I'm glad to have you with us. I'll just explain what we're going to do next because all these other people are all have been on previous calls many times, some of them. We have a set of principles that we read out at the start of the meeting, which normally we give each person a number and they take it in turns to read a paragraph. So we just get through that. I'm not sure whether you will be able to see the screen, Vanessa, but I'll just give each person a number. So Christopher, you were on first, so you can go number 1. Vicky, number 2. Trudy, number 3. Sasha, number 4. Vanessa, will hold off just for a second in case you can't see the screen. Julia, are you okay to read, or are you too tired at that end?
No, no, I'm not. I've
You're
only just
okay?
got here.
We'll make you number 5 then, so after Sasha, and I'll go number 6, and we'll see whether Vanessa can see the screen in a minute or not, whether she'd like to join in. So I'll just share the screen. And we do this, Vanessa, just so that we have a set of principles that we follow that just helps give us a guideline for the conduct of the meeting. So Christopher, if you'd like to lead us off.
Mastermind principles. The first of the mastermind is to hear leadership, is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no
Multitasking.
Yeah, I just have to increase it on my phone. We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
Vanessa, would you like to go next?
Okay.
Number 6.
We are collaborative. We listen without interruption, lecturing or judging.
Very good. We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think, oh, sorry, have I gone the wrong place?
Yeah, that's the right one.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
Did we miss Sasha out then?
Am I? We are real and authentic. This is a no bullshit song.
And Vanessa?
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces. One mind, one soul, one love.
Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. For all of you guys, you all know what that's all about. For Vanessa, I will give you a call afterwards and explain, because we did give
Yeah, I have no idea.
So I will explain all of that afterwards on a separate call. The main thing is that why we read those principles out is it just gives us a framework for the meeting, and the fact that we will all respect each other's opinions, give each other time to speak, and we might not agree with something somebody else says, but that's fine. We can have different opinions about things. But the idea is that we're all here to learn, to challenge each other's ideas and thoughts. That's a lovely background, Christopher. Well done. And of course, Trudy's had that glowing background for some time now. So
it'll be different next week.
Oh, you were traveling again, moving along. So yeah, we aim to explore different topics, different facets of self-mastery, of our journey towards becoming better versions of ourselves. And so my Friday morning sessions, we have a whole group of sessions that go on through the week, different times, different time zones with different presenters or different facilitators. And so if you can't make one, you can, you know, life gets in the way. Sometimes you can make one of the others, or some people are attending several masterminds through the week. They do become a little bit addictive. It's a bit like Netflix, you know. So the Friday morning one for the next few weeks, we're going to be working our way through Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, which a lot of us are familiar with already, but it's a good book to go back and reread because it's one of those timeless books. If you haven't read it, you'll get a lot out of it. And if you have read it, you'll be reminded of a lot of things that you probably did get out of it before, or some you might have missed. And so it's always one to go back and revisit. So we'll be reading 2 chapters prior to Friday and then discussing what we learned out of those 2 chapters. So a little bit like a book club in a way, but it's more, we go off on different tangents as well. So we don't necessarily have to stick strictly to that script, but it's certainly a very good conversation prompter. Otherwise, what we're carrying on doing with the Tuesday meetings today is I come up with a random topic and then we discuss that, and everyone has their contributions, their input. Or it's an opportunity also, if you have something that you want to test out or to ask. The power of the mastermind is that multiple brains working together, which is one of Napoleon Hill's principles. When you have, you know, the old saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. Well, imagine a problem shared with, what have we got here today? 7 people. So, you know, you're dividing that problem up and you'll get different insights and input, and maybe some different suggestions, ideas that you hadn't thought of before, maybe even some connections, people to talk to who can help you out. So, or, you know, reference places that you can go to look up information. So it truly is a power of a mastermind is to be all able to help each other. And by adding all our minds together, we're greater than we are individually. So my topic today that I came up with, because I'm always sort of, you know, I always have this moment of panic a couple of hours before the meeting. Sometimes it's like right up to the half an hour before the meeting, I'll go and have a shower or something, and I'll be thinking, what am I going to talk about today? And suddenly something comes to me. Showers are great for that, by the way, because I know something about putting yourself in. I read a book years ago about alpha wave thinking. When you put yourself in that kind of so almost like a meditative state, and you just allow the creative element to come through. Anyone experience that? No? Okay, we'll try it sometime. If you're stuck, you're trying to think of an idea, go and have a shower or go for nature. It does the same thing. So
yes, Tony, I do know exactly what you're talking about, you know, and it's really important. And we should do it throughout the day anyway, just to clear our minds and heads so that, you know, the creativity is allowed to flow.
Yeah, even if it's just a matter of stepping outside, if you have a garden or you know, an outdoor area, and just looking at the sky, listening to the birds, you know, it just can ground you again. And especially with bare feet, you know, you're connected to the earth again. It's very good for your soul, and it does remind you or reinstate that that connection with your creative element. So today, what I thought I would ask you about. Sorry, Julie, were you going to say something?
Yes, because I think people think they have to sit down and do something special, but you know, even if between actions you just pause and you know, just pause even for 30 seconds, it can, you know, it's really important, and people don't. They go from one task to another without sort of, you know, taking a break and just putting one to the end before the other one starts. Just be more conscious.
It's so easy to do that. I've had one of those days today myself, and I've been stuck in the office in front of the computer most of the day dealing with emails and things. And you have to just every now and again, I remind myself, hang on a minute, I've been sat at this computer for too long. Get up and go take a walk. In fact, where Joe used to work in one of the big mining companies, they used to have signs on the screen. I think it would even lock you out of the computer every 15 minutes or something and make you just go and do something else to get up and move around. Because they're saying that sitting is the new smoking. It's to be sat at the desk for hours on end, you know. But sometimes that's what we have to do in our jobs. So anyway, I thought that an interesting topic to explore today would be the topic of defining moments. So what do I mean by that? Well, when I was doing my coaching qualifications a few years ago, they were talking about how to present as a speaker on stage, you know, how to be a platform salesperson and so on. And they said, you've got to have a defining moment story. Now, if you haven't heard of this before, now you're aware of it, you'll be spotting it everywhere. Whenever you hear a speaker launching into a webinar or going up on stage and telling you that, you know, whatever they're presenting on, they'll quite often start, they'll follow certain format to their presentations. And very often the initial format is to hit the nail on the head of the actual topic that they want to talk to you about, what's called the pain point. You know, what is it that's troubling you? What's the problem that you're there to solve? What is it they're going to actually end up selling you a solution to, right? And they'll then introduce themselves a little bit about, you know, to give themselves a little bit of credibility and talk about how well they're doing, or they might have just been introduced and you've heard what a great speaker they are and everything about them, and their, you know, their ultimate success and all this. And then they'll tell you this defining moment story where they go, you know, you can see me today being rich and successful here, you know, I've got the house and the cars and whatever, but it wasn't always like that. There was a time when I was broke and I was down and out and I was sleeping on my mate's couch and the dog died and the roof fell in and the country and Western music was playing in the background, and they'll lay it on quite thick. But the point is, we all have defining moment stories in our lives. And Tony Robbins talks, he's a great coach and speaker. He talks about that's when our biggest life-changing decisions are made, is when we have a turning point or transition, which is the next book that I'm working on writing, is about that sort of thing, is when we have a moment where we either hit rock bottom or things go horribly wrong, or you get to that point in your life where you go, enough is enough. Something needs to change. I need to do something different here, whether it's a job change or a relationship change or you know, a set of circumstances that have conspired to get you to this point, this moment in your life that we would call a defining moment, because in that moment you make a decision and the decision takes you in a different direction. And so I wondered today, just for interest of topic and discussion, is what are, think of any leap out defining moments that you've had that have really made a big difference in your life, or perhaps you're going through one right now, I don't know. How did they shape your character? I'm going to ask a few, just to get the conversation started, a few questions here, right? How did they shape your character? What was it inside you that needed to change and is perhaps still changing, is a process of changing? And then ultimately we can come to, does anyone need any help with anything that comes out from today's discussion that perhaps the mastermind can help with, or we can point you in the direction of someone who can help. So anyone like to go first? Any thoughts that occur to you about this topic?
I can.
Sure.
I found it very interesting topic because last year in 2020, before May, I was working in a bank for the last 7 years. And then one day, the bank announced the new structure. So I will need to move to another department within the bank, or I can decide to do something else on my own with the help of the bank, or I can go out and do some study and get support by the bank and the government. So I did that, the turning point for me from being a banker in a finance. I changed and I decided to go back to study, and I did my psychology course and I graduated end of last year. So that is a good timing with the COVID and everything, so we can't go out, and Perth has shut down, lockdown for about a few months. So I used that time full time, 7 days, 16 hours a day, because it was an intensive course, and I finished and I complete. And since December, I started my own practice. So now I am a counselor. and I'm still learning to starting a new business and doing something else that new to my life. Yep, just a brief section of me. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Well done, Vanessa. That's great, and thanks
Okay.
for speaking up on your first attendance here. I met Vanessa on the weekend, as she said, at one of the wineries, and it was quite an impressive story. She was telling me about having to basically compress 3 years worth of study into a 1-year course.
Yeah.
Absolutely full on intensive. That would have broken. And how many people completed the course, Vanessa?
One.
Out of how many that started?
101, I think, or 100 something.
And you were the only one that managed to do it.
Yes, for last year at the end of semester, the others they're still continuing.
Well done.
I don't know when. Yeah, thank you.
It's a big achievement. So that was a big turning point.
Mm-hmm.
Who else has had big turning points, either in their life or perhaps more recently? Trudy.
Maybe coming to India was my turning point, because wasn't really planned that I was going to live here. It was that I'd booked a tour for February of last year to come with a personal development group, and I was bored in Australia, so I left Australia in November to come to India, because I also was coming with another Indian friend. And then my turning point was, yeah, I want to stay here. I like this place. So yeah, don't know where and when it kind of happened, but yeah, it's just like, 1 minute I've got a tour to go attend to, the next minute I'm not going early. And then the thing is, now I'm living here.
So you didn't actually go there with the intention of staying. It just happened when you got there.
Yeah. I decided, yeah, I don't need to go back to Australia. I don't want to go back. And right now I can't even leave India to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, I can, but, I can't come back in, and I've kind of, a bit of a base here. And yeah, when I came to India, I knew kind of two people, my friend who was in the north, which I didn't go to because it was winter and it was freezing ass cold. And secondly, was another contact I was given through a mutual friend. I met his friend here because he has his own home here. So, and we actually spent lockdown together. So we formed a really great friendship because we had nothing to do but talk all day.
That's great. So just on that, when we talk about defining moment, in your case, it might not have been one specific moment that you can think of. It could, but in the context of your life, it's still a moment. It could be a period.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be a moment in, when you look at the span of how many years your life goes for, that's still a moment. It's perhaps a long moment, but whereas sometimes it could come down to one snap decision, one absolute instant, turning point. But that's still a very much a defining moment, and that's quite a brave thing to do. I feel, you're like well outside your cultural background, your comfort zone, and yet you've just taken it on board, and you're obviously having a great time loving it there.
Yeah, they just quickly. When I say defining moment, one of those moments has just happened. So in my 20s, I lived on Hamilton Island, and the big yachts there. There was this big American yacht there, and we were sort of the crew was friendly with the crew of where I worked. And so, cut a long story short, they were leaving, and I was down on the boat having drinks, and they said it's time to go, and I went, no, I want to stay. So they threw the ropes, and off I sailed on this 150-foot boat in my work uniform with the wallet in my pocket, and that was it. And 3 days later we got to Cairns, and I rang up my friend on Hamilton Island and said, you better send my stuff up here because I'm not coming back.
How cool.
Yeah, so I have lots. I guess I have lots, but I'll let someone else talk now.
Yeah, thanks, Trudy. That's great shares. Who else? Vicky, you were about to speak up, weren't you, before?
Yeah, but somebody else can go first. if they want,
Well,
unless nobody else wants to.
go on, you've
Okay.
started. We might as well carry on.
So I've had a lot of defining moments in my life, to be honest. I think one was moving to Canada with my my kid's dad, my ex-husband. But I love it here, and I'm very happy to be here. I've been here 21 years. You know, we have a great medical system. Although I pay a lot in taxes, I finally get the benefit this year as my daughter's going to college for $165 a semester plus books. So it pays because the university otherwise is very expensive. But for me, honestly, last spring was probably my real defining moment. So Trudy and Tony know, and I think Julie knows. So when Montreal went into like our full lockdown last spring, I worked with seniors. I was grocery shopping for them and everything, and I got sick. We don't know with what, it doesn't matter. I didn't have some of the typical symptoms, but I had to quarantine myself for 6 weeks, and I had to stay by myself for 5 weeks in a room. That was a very defining moment for me. But what came out of it was what my life is now. You know, I found Noble Goldman soon after, and it was amazing. It's like kind of what I envisioned with the community without the living aspect yet, because you know I want to build a sustainable community somewhere, and somewhere like this so that we can enjoy it year round. So I think that for me, but at the same time I had fraud on my accounts and I had to end my relationship, and there's a lot that kind of happened at the same time. But I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't go through all that. So to me, although it was a lot at once, I don't think any of us are given anything more than we can handle. And we just need to work through it, if that makes sense. So
Absolutely. Great share. Yeah, it so often feels like that, doesn't it, where everything happens at once. And I wonder about that, you know, having read a lot about the law of attraction, we'll be covering that with going back to Think and Grow Rich. You know, when you're in that state of mind and you actually find yourself going, oh no, what else can go wrong? So it does. Instead of going, what could go right? We ask the wrong question and we get more of the same, don't we? It all happens at once. Well done. You're a survivor.
Yes, but the point is because I've been through all that, I know there, and I'm a social worker for 25 years, there's a lot I can offer to others because I've dealt personally with a lot, but also with my clients for 25 years. So for me, it's always, how can I switch it into how it can help others? And also I think for us, it's changing our mindset. So even when we're feeling negative, like that background that Christopher has is awesome. Like I would love to be out walking in that background. Like I do that. My thing, when you asked your question at the beginning, I go out in nature, and I'm lucky. Montreal, I'm surrounded by 5 parks within my neighborhood, like huge green spaces, which is an awesome thing. And me just getting outside and listening to the birds and walking around and enjoying the sun and just experiencing kind of that communication with nature is kind of my space.
Great. Thanks, Vicky. That's awesome. Who'd like to go next?
Well, maybe I can. I think defining moments, we have, well, many of them. And I've traveled overseas and lived in various places as well. And, you know, huge changes. I lived in Japan for 3 years, and, you know, they were all marvelously defining and, you know, completely changing your whole life. So I just think I'm one of these people that is always searching for more experience, to know more, to try and gain more control over my destiny, if you like, or you know, emotions, so that life becomes a little bit easier. I've always been rather passionate and overreactive, so I often want to do that. But just lately, I'm going to say today even, one of the things that's always been hugely kind of repetitive for me is my, shall we say, scarcity consciousness and financial situation. And I've never ever sort of been able to quite get there. I am on the way, but I sabotage myself a lot. And just recently, with being here too, I haven't been able to work, and then I retired a year and a bit ago. I had to retire, and I haven't built up anything. So financially, it's just very, shall we say, volatile or you know, it's not so stable. And just, you know, just today, yesterday again, and today I had the call from this morning. I've got to pay tax back from Holland. I haven't even been there for a year, and €1,200, and of course I don't have it sitting anywhere. And you know, I just thought, right, this was my defining moment. I just thought, you know, I would go into a deep, dark space of poverty or frustration and poor me and it's not fair and blah blah blah. And I just thought, oh, you know what, I've had a guts full. I'll just find a way to pay this. I don't really care. And I think every time I made a fuss or felt insecure, you attract more of that feeling of insecurity and inadequacy or whatever, or failure, or, you know, because so much of society is judged upon, you know, what your house you're living in and all those other things. But today I just decided, you know what, I'm not just not going to go there. You know, I used to feel like I was sitting under a big board with boulders on top of, you know, holding me down. So that was it today. I thought, bugger it, you know, it will just come. It's going to be okay. I will find ways. And what better place to be in with this Noble Goldman there, where there's help and advice everywhere. So a defining moment today.
Wow, Julie, that's that
I've got to see it come.
powerful words and imagery there. You know, when you when you just said, I felt like I was sitting under a big board with big boulders on top of it pressing me down. I mean, wow.
Well, you know, that's not too far off it. And I've always been one to be very descriptive and you know, but I really felt like that, and I couldn't move through it for a little while yesterday. It was just sort of just all over me, you know. And then this morning, and then I got the news this morning, I thought perhaps it was intuition that this big thing was coming. And of course, I've been away from Holland and I'm still paying rent over there for my house. And then there was no one in it. So, you know, it was all sort of built up. And I just thought, oh no, I'm just sick of this. And people came into the house, you know, they've actually come from Italy. And they're really, really grateful because they get it cheap. And so that's one good thing. And then this bill arrived again this morning. And I thought, okay, so, you know, fine. Yeah, fine.
Julie, I'd just like to acknowledge you for something there, because that's a big turning point in your thinking when you can notice how you previously would have reacted to that situation and be aware of that, and then realize that now you're choosing a very different reaction, and that you're going to respond instead, that you're going to move, you're going to come up with a plan, you're going to work your way through it, and you're not going to let it get on top of you. There won't be any more boulders pressing down on you.
No, and there was last night, and it was quite instant. And I mean, it almost should have been the opposite, because when I woke up and found this great long letter from, we call them the Belastingdienst, and you'll probably know that. Is it Sasha? So you'll know about Belastingdienst. And I thought, well, you know, okay, so maybe that was what I felt the night before, because I'm often very intuitive about, you know, I just sort of get a feeling. But it was quite instant, and I thought, right, got a choice here, bang, can go back down or whatever, or we can just say, bugger it, I'll find a way, that's it, find a way, because things are turning, and there are people that in this group that are just, I know, are going to be not rescuing, but guiding us, you know. And it's, you know, I've been a woman on my own for the last 30 years really, and living in foreign countries, and it hasn't been easy, you know, and especially if you're living in foreign countries and you're trying to deal with agencies and everything, you haven't got the language, and you know, sometimes it was really a big load, you know. And so, you know, and I've done that, and I'm still here, you know, I'm still here, not rich, but I'm still here and managing. So now it's starting
here indeed. And I think Julie, that you will get great benefit out of going back through. Have you read Think and Grow Rich? Yeah.
No, I haven't. I mean, I've heard, do you know, my father was an Earl Nightingale, and Dale Carnegie, he used to say these things years and years ago when I was a kid, you know, and you are what you think and things like that. And it was really unheard of back in those days, you know. It was a pity he didn't live long enough really to act it out himself, you know, to try it out. He died when he was
You're
just
going to love it, Julie. Get hold of a copy of the book and work
Yeah.
through it with us on the Friday mornings if you can attend. I know you've usually been able to come in on the Friday morning call.
Yeah, I should be able to do
I
that.
think you'll get a lot out of it. I think you're at just at the right moment.
I need to get a copy of it, or you know, I haven't done a lot of reading lately. I listen a lot to lots of things, but readings, I feel, I tell you why, I fall
Well, is
asleep.
there a library near you? Because I'm sure you can grab a copy for
There's
free.
a library, but I still fall asleep when I start to read.
Ah,
That's the
okay.
problem.
Well, I'll give you the YouTube link and you can listen to it. You'll probably still fall asleep, but you know, it'll be
No, I
going
don't
into your
fall asleep.
subconscious.
Well, I do occasionally, but you know, that's okay. But I don't fall asleep so easily when I'm listening. I think I'm a listening, speaking person, you know.
We're just going to do 2 chapters at a time. So, and depending on the length of the chapter,
Oh, that'll be great. Yes,
and then we'll
very
discuss
good.
it. So you'll get the highlights out, even if you fall asleep and don't finish reading it, just the conversations, you'll be able to get the key points out of it from everybody else. And so thanks for sharing that. Who haven't we heard from yet? Sasha, Christopher, whichever one of you wants to have a quick word.
Can I just quickly say
Am I
something
putting you
there,
on the
Tony?
spot?
Oh.
You don't have to if you don't want to. You can just listen. That's all right. I'll just give you that moment if you want to say anything.
Sorry, Tony, can I just jump in there?
Sure, Trudy, please.
Lisa would probably have it in the files of her page, Think and Grow Rich.
Ah, yeah, she might do. Yeah, she might have.
She's got everything in there. So if you can direct Julie to there, have a look in hers under files, and I'm sure she'll have it because I'm doing the laws, and I've got it from there. So if Julie doesn't get to the library, she can get it off Lisa's
I
site.
can probably get it in lots of places actually.
Yeah, we'll find it for you. We'll all see if any one of us can find it. Just send it to Julie.
I've been looking at more financial things.
Yes. Awesome. And I saw you nodding quite a bit there, Trudy, about the challenges of dealing with being in another country and government departments and agencies and things like that. Common ground. All right. So what was interesting, Christopher, Sasha, you don't want to jump in at that point? No, you're okay.
I can say a little bit, but it's not not really necessary. I'm in a transitioning period now myself, but and I'm trying to, how do you say that, to design my life more. So that's normally I go where life brings me, and then I deal with everything present. And now I try to change that a little, to design a little more myself. So that's very interesting. So defining period.
That's a very good point. Thanks for bringing that up. So I knew you had something to contribute there, because that's what this is all about, is not just drifting through life. What we're aiming to do is to help each of us to find the clues that we need to find what it is. How do you want your life to go? How do you want, like, we don't know how long we've got, any of us.
Yeah.
So we want to work at being better at being in the present, but at the same time, rather than just drifting through life and then getting to your old age and going, oh, I should have done this and I could have done that, you know, because that's the greatest thing when they've interviewed patients on their deathbeds. The biggest thing, and I know Vicky can tell you a lot more about this, being a grief counselor and so on, the biggest thing that people talk about is the regrets of what they didn't do in their life that they wished they'd done. You know, the conversations they didn't have, or the movies they didn't watch, or the places they didn't visit, or the friendships they let go and didn't follow up on, or, you know, the family members that they got estranged from. Those are the sorts of things that people end up regretting. So if you can live a life by design, this is the biggest problem, that most people simply don't think. That's what James Allen said in his book, is that people don't set aside that time for reflection, like we were talking about before, stepping outside into the garden, just being still, just having that moment of mindfulness where you can reflect on what's important in my life? What have I learned? So there's another question for you in these moments that you've all brilliantly described and shared with us. What did you learn about yourself when you were going through those challenges? I know some of you have touched on it a little bit, but does anyone want to expand on anything they've learned? Christopher.
This year and last year have been lots of changes, and the underlying thing was something which somebody said to me, and recently I've gotten a couple of new additional mentors in my life, and I'm taken on board with a real estate agent, and one of the things I was saying, how should I respond to certain questions and answers? And he said, just be yourself. And that really got me thinking, because I didn't approach him when I wanted to do this at all, in that he approached me, and another one approached me to be to represent her as well. And that was chosen because I was just being myself. And when I present myself to a person, let's say a client, a landlord, vendor, or a tenant, I just need to be authentic. And I don't need to put on airs, I just be myself. And that was the biggest take home, because the defining moment that, in fact, that was just last week. That was a defining moment for me, because I didn't need to pretend to be somebody. And I was thinking, okay, how do I dress? I mean, and he was pointing out to me the various agents and all that, and he was just wearing a polo shirt, okay. And some of the rich clients are saying, I actually prefer you to wearing the Armani suits, because that's so pretentious. People don't really care so much, as long as you don't wear slippers or something way too casual. People want you to be yourself.
Christopher, that's brilliant. I think you've been reading my notes, haven't you? Because that's the topic I was going to lead on to next week, because I thought, from defining moments is when you start to shape your destiny, is when you think, who do I want to be? And I was going to go on to talk about personal branding and, how you present yourself to the world. So you've sort of, that's a brilliant segue for next week. But if you weren't being yourself, who were you being?
Well, a lot of people go around having no personality. They don't have eye contact, they look down, they're not interested in you, and they don't really engage. And I like to, when I'm with somebody, what at least I'd like to think that is, I want to give the person I'm speaking to my emotional availability, my presence in that moment, not like I'm distracted elsewhere, I'm not interested in her, what you're going on. I mean, obviously, if you're distracted by other things which you can't help it, then it's different. But I mean, when I sat down with one of my friends who used to be a friend, I mean, he was always busy, not interested. He was always checking his phone, and I just felt like he just wanted to get out of there straight away. Not personally because he didn't like me, but it's that personality. And I didn't want to be that. I mean, when I sit down with somebody, let them not have so much of a guard down and have to pretend to be someone else in front of me. Just be yourself. And I think that's something which I've attracted a lot of people to just open up and share and trust, and to let your hair down, and to emanate and emote that warmth as well, so that when they speak to me, they don't feel like they need to put on a face.
That's a great share, Christopher. You just reminded me then of the 14 years I ran a backpackers hostel in Perth, and we had people from all over the world coming along. And one of the ways that we made an impact on people's lives, and I say we because it was a community like this, where you would see people arrive and they might be troubled by things, by whatever was going on in their life at that point. And I'm sure Trudy's experiencing a bit of this in the traveling world now, meeting people as you travel. That very often people go traveling because they're at a turning point in their life, or at a crisis moment, or they're trying to explore who they are, or they're trying to deal emotionally with something that's happened to them, like maybe a relationship breakup or a job loss or redundancy, business failure, all those sorts of things. And what we aimed to do in the Backpackers World was we provided a safe environment where we encouraged everyone to just be themselves, and we allowed them to be themselves. And I think this is one of the powers of this mastermind community, is that you just allow everybody to be themselves and to have a voice and to express themselves. And therefore, as they speak things out loud, they speak their own truth, they're able to come to realizations about issues that they've been perhaps struggling with, or limiting beliefs, or just getting some answers about some of the nagging questions that they've had, like, why am I doing this? Why am I repeating this pattern of behavior? Or what is it about me that's attracting this, you know? And just being in a safe environment and being able to discuss it with like-minded people, we used to see absolute transformations of character, where you'd see someone who'd arrive grouchy, bad-tempered, miserable, stressed, and within 24 hours, you look at them and you go, that's a different person sitting there. You know, they would be smiling and radiant and engaging in conversation with people and having fun. And it was just that, creating that space and being there for people, just listening to them, being with them, and asking them questions about themselves and giving them the time of day. And that's such a gift that we can give to other people. And I love when Vicky made that comment that, you know, when you have a tough situation, you turn it around, you go, well, how could I use this to help me help somebody else? You know, what I've learned going through this myself, how am I going to be able to pass this on? That sort of karmic thing of, what's the lesson for me? Well, maybe I can help somebody else learn the same lesson. Yes, please.
One of the things which really struck me on a trip which I was with my friend, who's a mentor to me, was that one of the ugly things in real estate is you have to chase rent. And this one person tried to cut off all communication with the agent, shut off the phone, change numbers, switch off WhatsApp, no email, etc. And it was getting rather frustrating. But you know, after 14 days, you have to chase because you represent the landlord, and it's an ugly thing to do. And then I said, okay, are you going to send the eviction notice or not? And he said, well, I'll just visit the person first, and you see whether there's an opportunity to negotiate. And that's something which has been ringing throughout as a theme. Let's say not just in real estate, but when I was a lawyer, I was told that rather than go straight to litigation, you have to go through mediation and then maybe arbitration and all that. And this is something which you try to make peace, and you try to find a way in which you can to meet, rather than straight away go all out and be acrimonious. So that's something which was a takeaway for me too.
Good pickup, well done. Yeah, negotiation, so important. And you know, so Russ Devan talks about this. I know a few of you know Russ. He's one of the great mentors. Since I've become involved with this, I listen to his talks. He's in Arizona, different time zone for me, but I love getting onto his masterminds, and he's such a powerful speaker. And you know, he talks about when you take a position, when you disagree with someone, you're taking a position. And if you're in a position, it means there's an opposition. So instead, if you can look for the common ground, and rather than going, well, I think this and you think that, you sort of explore where you can, and that's negotiation, you know, you explore where the overlaps are and maybe maybe even agree to disagree on something, but you look for a compromise, you work something out that's going to work for both of you. So seeking the win-win outcomes is so important in life. And I like to say, seek the win-win-win outcomes. You know, the more people that can win out of it, the better. The more parties that get something from it. So we're coming, I'm just conscious that we're coming up towards time, and just thinking maybe, and we could talk about this all night. I reckon we've got a subject here that everyone could share a lot more. We've only heard a brief share with a few of you on the group today, but perhaps if we could sum it up with a sentence or an idea or a concept that has struck a chord with you maybe today out of the discussion that we've had. And we could just go around each person and say, what did you get out of today with one of the other speakers? Something that somebody has said that maybe has resonated with you, that might be something you can work with going forwards, or it's made a difference to how you think about something, or just you thought it was a really good point or whatever. Should we just go in order of the numbers? I'll put you on the spot there, Christopher. We're number one. So what did you get out of today so far? You're muted, by the way.
Okay, I've been procrastinating on some assignments I'm supposed to do and finish, although the deadline's further away. One of the things which Vanessa was saying, that she finished it faster than anyone else, I was saying, okay, that's my cue to start. You know, pulling out my socks and getting down to do that thing which I have put off.
Excellent. Well done, Vanessa, for turning up and kicking Christopher's butt. Good stuff. Inspirationally, I mean. Vicky.
For me, I'm following kind of like the Trudy's lifestyle and Julie's. I would say go with the flow, and also that you're stronger than you think.
Very good.
So.
Yep. Stronger than you think, indeed. Who was number 3? That was Trudy.
Nothing really changed for me. It's just great to listen to everybody in their, you know, their lives, and just like you say, it's here to support each other, and yeah, so it's just nice that we sit here and support each other, and we grow from that.
Yeah. And I think with something like this, quite often as well, it might plant the seed of an idea, you know, that when you're put on the spot at the end of the meeting, go, what did you think about today, or what did you get out of it? And you kind of go, oh, I can't really think of anything right at the moment. And then you'll go away, and maybe, you know, for me, 2 o'clock in the morning, I say, okay, you know what, what that person said has had an impact. So you never know. So I hope that happens for you. Not at 2 o'clock in the morning, obviously, Trudy, but, you know, I hope something else resonates. But yeah, just being supported, that's a good feeling. Who was next? It was Sasha, I think.
Yeah, number 4. Yeah, I remembered saying, I don't know who said it, maybe Dalai Lama or something, when I heard you and Christopher talking. And yeah, it feels very real, like, yeah, the most important person is always the one sitting across from you. So that's, yeah, that was a reminder again. So that's very nice. Thank you.
That's very true. Yeah, being present to the person that you're with, and it's so easy to be distracted, isn't it? Especially in, you know, business meetings and even at parties and barbecues and things. You know, it's so easy to sort of drift off and not really take notice of what somebody's saying. And when you give people that attention, that can be very, very powerful, because they feel supported and they feel able to share. So
actually, yeah, Tony, that really hits the spot with me too. In fact, I was thinking all the way through, so important to listen to the person Just
Sorry,
listen.
what were you saying there?
Um,
Sorry, I wasn't listening. No, I'm just kidding. Just my sense of humour.
To
Yes,
truly listen, because you know I'm one of these people that's always got so much to say, and then I kind of hear my own voice, and I just think to myself, just shut up a minute, will you? Just you know, quieten down. And it's so wonderful to listen, to really listen to what people were saying.
that is a great lesson. It really is, isn't it? To like who was it? I had years ago. One mouth, two ears. Keep it in that ratio. Because it's so easy to be thinking about what you're going to say next rather than really hearing what the other person is expressing.
Yeah.
And that's a very good, very important skill to work on developing as well. Thank you.
Very much.
Vanessa.
Okay, my turn. I have two things that I got from this session. I'm gonna go quick. The first one is I didn't expect that I will be talking to people from the different side of the world. You guys, for example, you're from Canada, you're from India, you're from Netherlands, you're from New South Wales, and you're in Perth Hills, and I'm here in Perth. This unexpected, but it's good in a good way. And I'm happy that I'm joining this session. And the second pickup point that I got from today is when you ask us to read at the beginning, I think being present is very good, because then you can learn about the other person deeply, and then you connect with them. Because for me personally, I believe everyone is connected to everyone. So, and whatever we do is affect everyone else. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that's great, Vanessa. That's so true. We are, and the more the books that we read well, we have a recommended reading list. I've certainly got a long recommended reading list I can direct you to on my website that I've been gathering over the last couple of decades. The more you read about these sort of inspirational, positive, motivational type books about understanding how we work, how our brains work, how we think, how we operate, very much as you get into the spiritual side of it, we are all connected. And very often that person who's sitting across from you may be mirroring you. So if there's something you don't like about them or about what they're saying or what their beliefs are, there's something being triggered in you that is an aspect of yourself that perhaps you don't like, that you do occasionally, or you know, you have that trait and you know you're aware you've got that trait and you don't like it, and you see it in the other person, it's magnified for you. So when we're present, we give ourselves more of that opportunity, not only to listen to the other person, but also to be aware of ourselves and how we're reacting and why we're reacting, especially if that person presses your button in some way, if they trigger an emotional response in you. Why is that happening? Why are you letting that happen? So we can learn so much just by being more present and being more attentive and listening more to what people have to say. Well, we're up for time. It's been a great conversation. Thank you so much. You've all contributed so much, and I really appreciate your time and being here. Has anyone got any last things they'd like to add, or anything they feel would close it off at all?
No.
We all feel
Keep
complete.
listening.
We all
Keep listening.
we all feel complete. And so yes, keep listening, and please, if you're able to, Friday morning 7:30 a.m. Perth time, I'll be starting off going through Think and Grow Rich. But there are, if you can't make these time slots of my 2 meetings for whatever reason, if you go to Martin's website, the yourdesiredsuccess.com website, they publish a list of all the masterminds that are on from our local presenters or our community of presenters. And some of them are around the world, and certainly the attendees, as we've had today, from all over the world. And that's a great thing, especially in this pandemic time that we're living in, to be able to connect with people from all around the world and feel that we are all together, and we will get through all of this together. So thank you so much for your time, guys. Have a lovely rest of the day, evening, morning, wherever it is where you are, and we'll catch you all on the next one.
Thank you, Tony.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you from the jungle. Next week I'll be in a new destination. So let's see where I am, because I have no idea.
Cool. I look forward to it.
Enjoy.
Yeah.